listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you this morning, and looking forward to having a show of a conversation with the community today as we are into our we're into our fifth month of this show, actually, since the beginning of Sudbury News Talk. We've been doing Sudbury Sports Talk before that for a long time. Since 2017, actually, we've been on CKLU 96.7 FM, and that's where you find us today. If you're listening on the radio, good morning. And if you are, you can, listen on the radio, 96.7. You can also stream us at cklu.ca. You just go there and you click on the Radio Player Canada logo, and you can stream us. There's a player there, and you can listen to us online. You can also click on that app, download it, and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. And that is that's modern technology. And speaking of modern technology, we're also Facebook streaming live, YouTube live, and on the website live. So facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, and Sudbury.news. You go to Sudbury News Talk, and you can watch it there as well. Now, I'm not sure if that might take a couple clicks or whatever on our website, but I know after the show, we used to have an issue where you couldn't, you had to click it and then click YouTube, and then it was hard to get to it. But now we fixed a glitch, and you just play it right there after the show. I'm not sure exactly how it works live. We're still working on some of those things. There's so many technical things to work on this morning, but so goes it. And so, yes, the comments, that's the good thing. If you're watching on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, the comments are working today, and we're able to bring them up on the screen. So good morning, Julia. Yes. And good morning, Marco. Yes. And it's Friday. Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention that that's kind of exciting for many of us who are able to enjoy a weekend. It is Friday. And I guess maybe the whole idea of it being Friday, the thunder was stolen when I saw the amount of rain that we were getting last night and today. Quite a bit of it, actually. But that's not going to thwart us for our weekend. We are still going to enjoy the weekend, right? And well, speaking of weather, we could probably just jump right into that. We have all kinds of headlines for you today. We had a bunch of people who started to, and I knew this was eventually going to happen, it wasn't going to take long, to start utilizing our email to send press releases to, obviously. I didn't know if there was some list I had to get on or anything like that to, if there's, I remember going through school and trying to find all the media contacts, and it actually wasn't all that easy. For many assignments, a lot of the websites, you had to go to the direct website, find out who the contact person was, how to contact them. I just thought there may be a concise list out there. You just Google, media contacts in Sudbury, and boom, they'd all come up. But no, that did not exist, and so I had to kind of dig. And so I know people are digging to find this, to find us and whatever. And so we're starting to see that now, where we're getting press releases and things, and so that helps us because we're able to be on top of things just as the other news outlets are. We get the breaking news at the same time, and so if it comes at a really good time, we could just talk about it on the show. So really grateful for that. Now I had a really great. I'd like just to say good morning to Jerome. Yes, thanks. I appreciate that, Jerome. Thank you very much, and. I really appreciate all of you and all of the points of view that you bring to the show, and I think we have a really great beginning to what we can see happening when the show gets to more and more people are able to be part of the conversation. And then eventually you can have, put out a poll. Say we're going to put out a poll on this particular issue today, and we want your comments. And then, the following day we unpack that, and then we talk about the next stories. And there's just so much to talk about in our community that I think a platform like this really lends itself well to. And speaking of that, I had a really great chat with Marco last night. He reached out and said, if there's anything else he could do, even coming on the show or whatever to help out, he would be more than happy to do that. And so we had a Google Meet last night, and it was really good. And he mentioned something that I was already onto, and that was the fact that Facebook used to inform our followers that we were in fact going live. And so they would get a prompt. It would say, Sudbury News Talk is live now. And but that actually stopped happening. I don't know when, but recently enough, or last month or so. I know Billy, who's a co-host on the show and a huge part of this show and what we're doing, he noticed the same thing, that he hasn't been getting notifications anymore. And so we don't know what's happening. I did load up a bit of something to show one aspect of Facebook and what, it doesn't seem to be as transparent as one might think, or one would think it could be or should be. So I'll just show you one little aspect of that I had a little bit of time to get ready before the show. As we, this is all volunteer, and get up as early as I can to get things rolling. And that's despite any technical difficulties, which every day there are. But so far, touch glass, I guess my desk has a glass top on it, that we won't experience that today. Everything seems to be going good. Yes, yay, it is Friday, Shane. It's in fact. So Lee says she still does get notifications, so thank you for that. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, and I did pop up first thing this morning for Marco. Maybe they were listening to our conversation last night and said, they need to fix that. Yeah, and Marianne says the same thing, and so does Miles. So thank you very much for letting us know that. I know that, so maybe some of us are, some of us aren't. And I know there's also, when you follow somebody, I think you configure it as well. And same thing, yes. D. Lebranche, thank you very much. That, so that's good. Thanks for letting us know. And that's why it's very important to I think, have this platform. Like let's say we were talking about something in the news and it wasn't even true. And for some reason we were talking that it was, and then right away people keep us on our toes and give us, keep us informed that maybe that wasn't in fact a fact or whatever, and give us a link or things like that. So, and you can tell right away we share it, and it keeps everybody on the up and up. Okay, yes, that's awesome. Thank you. Everybody and got one on your Apple Watch. That's awesome. So cool. Thanks for letting us know. And thanks for being here. We really appreciate you. And without you, this is your show, by the way, on your station, CKLU, but it's also your show on all things social media and CKLU. So we're just here to moderate the conversation about community events that are happening on a daily basis. That includes news, weather, and sports. And a lot of times we'll go off on tangents here and there, but it's basically like a conversation with your best friend where you feel that you can do that. And so that's what we wanted to have the feel of this show be. And all points of view are welcome. There's not a point of view, as long as it's not hurtful in a way to someone else where it's demeaning. If we keep things all respectful to one another and allow a different point of view and no personal attacks, I think is what I would deem not being respectful and along those lines. So, all right, without further ado, let's get on with the show, and let's start with a little bit of weather. Yes, and I just can't believe, we're getting into fall, and it's the real fall weather. and it's it's kind of like a damp cold, and I feel sorry for all of you all of the people that have arthritis or are some kind of arthritis or something where the weather affects your body. I know it's not easy to live in a region like this, and sometimes it's not a choice. We just have to live here. You can't move down to Arizona, or you move out to parts of BC where there's little humidity, and and it's better for your health. But anyways, currently it is 4 degrees and we have light rain shower going on. The humidity is, speaking of humidity, 99%, because we are getting that precipitation now. But today you can expect cloudy, 60% chance of showers early this morning. Showers beginning this morning. Risk of a thunderstorm again in the morning. Fog patches will be disappointing. This is an interesting morning. Fog patches will be dissipating this morning. I don't know if that is disappointing to anyone or not, but the wind will be southeast, 20 kilometers, and maybe gusting to about 40 this afternoon. But I don't know if all y'all might have experienced it, but it seemed like, remember there was a warning yesterday morning, the day before, about a wind warning and rain and all that. But it seemed like I was woken up last night from heavy winds and rain, and I thought, oh no, we're just getting it like a day later. So it was kind of windy last night and rainy. Tonight, showers ending near midnight, then mainly cloudy with a 6% chance of showers. Wind will be the regular 20 to 40, and and it will be a low of 5 overnight. Long range, Saturday, showers, high of 8. Sunday, 40% chance of showers, high of 8. Monday, 40% chance of showers, high of 6. And Tuesday, 60% chance of showers, high of 4. And flurries possible. Wednesday, flurries possible. And doesn't look too promising if you're a sun lover, like some of us can be, and would hope that we'd have at least some sun. But you know what? Yesterday in Greater Sudbury, it was a pretty nice evening. The clouds kind of parted, and it was a beautiful, beautiful evening. So maybe we'll get a little bit of that, and the weather forecast won't be as ominous. And Jerome says, loves the changes that the season brings, for sure. And that's one of the great things about living in this community of ours. We do get 4 seasons. And so if we're able to get out and enjoy the seasons, then you can send a picture. I'm not sure if it will come up. If you send it in the comments, we can try it. Maybe this is a new, something that we've never tried before, and see if it comes up. So we'll be back maybe with a picture that Mary Ann will send us, or not if it doesn't work. But anyways, we'll be back right after this. All right, welcome back. We have a little bit of sports news brought to you by Randy Pascal, who was nice enough, who was on part of the show. Speaking of Sudbury Sports Talk, we started off doing that, and we had Randy every Monday do a podcast, and we played it because it was radio at the time. We didn't have the live stream, but Randy is the sports guy in Sudbury, and was nice enough to also send not only the Sudbury Wolves, he is the historian for the Sudbury Wolves, and he was nice enough to send us along the information that he just compiled recently. As the 50th anniversary of the Sudbury Wolves goes forward, I think he's going to be featuring different aspects of the Sudbury Wolves over this time, and he was nice enough to share the information with me, and so now I can get to share it with all of you. And he's really good. And this even if you're not a sports fan per se, I would just pay attention to the following information, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So good morning, David. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. And as you can see on the screen, 50th anniversary, 1972 to 2022, 50 years of Sudbury Wolves statistical history. So over the course of the 5 decades of play in the Ontario Hockey League, the Sudbury Wolves have featured 9 different 50 goal scorers. Now, if you're not familiar with hockey and how big of a thing this is, that's kind of like the marker. If you're a goal scorer in hockey, if you can get to 50 goals in a season, it's kind of like a benchmark. It's those who have reached the 50 goal. You can get more points because you get points for assists as well. But if you reach that 50 goal mark, that's like, okay, now you're etched in history somehow. You're going to be recognized. You've reached that point, right? So there's 9 different 50 goal scorers. That's how rare it is. 50 years, only 9 players have reached the 50 goal mark. While the top 4 totals were all accomplished in the 70s. So that gives you some idea of maybe goalies got better, equipment got bigger, maybe the nets, something, maybe the style of play, but less goals after that. So the 70s, there was a lot of goals scored, at least for the Sudbury Wolves. And then the 2 decades after that also enjoyed entries to this list. So we're going to basically list a few of the players. Though the last player to hit the plateau was Norm Milley, he was also the only player to do it twice. Back in the back-to-back, he scored the exact same amount of goals, 52 goals in back-to-back seasons, 1999 and 2000, which isn't all that long ago. So since the turn of the millennium, the closest the Wolves came to adding another name to this list were in 2016 and 17 with Dmitry Sokolov. He got 48, which is only 2 away from it. You know, like that's how it works, right? You could have got 49 goals and you're not on that list of 50 goals. You could have hit the post 20 times, or you could have had a goal you should have got called back, and that's just the way that it works. Okay, cool. So Marianne was saying the picture she wanted to send us was of the Queen sending her mom her 100th birthday salutations, and I would need your phone number, I think. Okay, well, possibly, or let's try and figure this out. So I think you could probably send me the picture. You could email it to sudburynews@gmail.com. That's one way we could share it. If you're able to figure it out, you just copy and paste it into an email and then send it. And it's not hard to remember, sudburynews@gmail.com. So pretty simple. Try that, see if it works. And if all else fails, we'll figure it out. There's many ways to share things these days. I just thought you were going to share it in the chat, and I didn't know if it would be able to come up on the screen, which I'm pretty skeptical about. But yeah, here's Marianne's comment here. And that is cool, by the way. Yeah, your mom's 100th birthday. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah, so 49 goals, you don't make the list. 50, you do. Dmitry Sokolov, what a great player. 48 goals in the 2016-17 year. 2011, 2012, Mikhail Skorboza got 47. And Nick Baptiste got 45, and then Nathan Pansel got 42. It looks like in the same year. So, yeah, some players came close. Only once have 2 Sudbury players managed to surpass the 50 goal, mark in the same year. So 2 players in the same year of the Sudbury Wolves got more than 50 goals, or 50 or more. And what is a definitive keeper for longtime fans of the team? Here's a complete list of the players. So Rod Shutt, 72 goals in the 1975-76 season. So it's going in terms of the amount of goals, not the year. Mike Foligno is the second most amount of goals, 65, and that was in 78 79. Morris Titanic, love the name, 61 goals in the 72-73 season, so right after the Wolves, basically, the first season of the Sudbury Wolves. That's pretty cool. Dave McQueen, 60 goals in the 78-79 season. That's when Mike Foligno also got more than 50 goals. So McQueen and Foligno both that year. Now, Paul DiPietro, 56 goals in 89-90. Now, I played baseball against Paul DiPietro, and he was a pitcher, and he was probably the most dangerous pitcher I could have ever faced. The ball sizzled by me. It made a sound, and I swear it sizzled by me. Never got a hit from him. And never played hockey against him because he was always 1 year ahead of me all the time. So he was the kind of player that played above his league, and I was the same in my hockey time. But I was younger than him, so he was always a year ahead. I was always a year ahead, but because of the year difference, we were always in different, different age categories, and never played with him or against him in hockey. But Paul DiPietro, one of the best Sudbury Wolves captains, went on to win a Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens and was an integral part of that Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup win, and an unsung hero. And later on went to play for Switzerland in the Olympics, and they actually, because he couldn't make Team Canada, he was too small, and whatever, he wasn't a star player, but they beat Canada 2-0 in that game, and he scored both goals against Martin Brodeur, who was the goalie, and Team Canada's chock full of superstars. So that's Paul DiPietro for you. Played for the Sudbury Wolves, was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie, and that's where I played baseball against him. I grew up, moved to Sudbury when I was 15, so I'm from the Sioux, living there before that. Mario Chitteroni, I love that hockey player, also went on to have a great career. 54 goals in 86-87. Norm Millie, as we talked about, got it twice in back-to-back years. And 52 goals both years, too. 51 goals, 74-75 from Bobby Russell, and then Zednek, sorry, Nedved. I'm just not able to speak today as well. But he reached that 50-goal plateau, and that sets him apart from anyone who got 49 or 48 goals. So yeah, I just want to get some. I think I kind of figured Miles would be chiming in for most of this. Unfortunately, you can't post photos in the chat. Okay, yes, yeah, and I know it would be great to post GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce them, GIFs. Because, there's probably a lot of memes that go along with what we're talking about. But, it doesn't do that. So, a DM on Messenger works for pics as well. So, so you can send us a pic through our Messenger on Facebook. That will come to us. That's for Marianne. Rod Shooter Shut. I didn't know he had that nickname or whatever. And then Marianne saying Brian Savage, also from Sudbury, for sure, made the NHL, played for the Montreal Canadiens, for sure. And the story I said about Paul DiPietro in the Olympics was 2006 in Italy. That is correct. So that was the Olympics after that great win Canada had in 2002, Salt Lake City. We're expecting big things from the Canadians the next time, but they didn't even get a medal, I don't believe, from Italy that year. And so lots of really cool comments here. Those were great hockey days for sure. And hopefully this season will also be great with the Sudbury Wolves because they are playing tonight at the arena. And you can catch that game right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be broadcasting that. I think the puck drop is 7:05, and I do believe we are facing the Barrie Colts. And then we are also in action, I think, against Peterborough on Sunday. So if you should get out to the game if you can, but if you can't, then you can listen to it right here on CKLU. So there's also some really cool things that Randy put together. He breaks down basically how the team's been doing so far. So let's just look at here. The beginning to the season was a bit of they have a bit wonky scheduling. The Wolves actually open their home schedule with back-to-back encounters. Yep, Barrie Colts Friday, and then the Peterborough Petes kick off a 2-game home weekend. Yep, so I just talked about that. So sorry for this. I already went through it, and then I kind of lost my place here. So this is what I wanted to point out, like the really great team that we have. So while absolutely everyone involved with the Ontario Hockey League will attest to the fact that the drafting of 16-year-old talent is very inexact. It's an inexact science. We draft pretty young, pretty well. It's also a given that the more top end picks teams accumulate, the better their chances to hit on some teenagers with very impressive skill sets. So if you draft young and you develop them, the more you draft young in the first round, they're with you longer. So we had a few good first rounders. It's still quite early, but in only 5 games, it's worth noting that 3 of the top 4 scorers with the Wolves are first-round OHL selections. No surprise, David Goyette, first-round 2020, 11th overall, is currently leading the way with 10 points. He has 5 goals, 5 assists. But the early emergence of both Quinton Musty, he was a 2021 first-round, first overall pick for the Sudbury Wolves. He has 4 goals and 4 assists. And then Alex Ferrand, 2021 14th pick overall, 3 goals, 3 assists. So you got Goyette, who's got 5 goals, 5 assists, Musty, who's got 4 goals, 4 assists, and Ferrand, who's got 3 goals and 3 assists. I don't know if that's a trend. They have to have the same goals as assists. I just thought that's a really interesting fact, just to say the least. But thanks to Randy Pascal for that great report. There's some more to unpack out of this that I might hit on Monday, but thank you so much. Continue to do that, and hopefully I reached out to Randy and I said, hey, you're welcome back on the show if we can work that out, and that's all that there is to it. Nick was saying she was going to be on the show, but unfortunately she was up all night and she was debating about coming on, but her voice is gone. So yeah, that wouldn't be very good to come on if your voice is gone. So thanks. That's your sports report, Sudbury Wolves mainly, and we'll be back with some of the news. We'll see if we can get through it without a Nick. We'll just have to do our best. We'll be back right after this. All right, and as promised, we are back, and we're going to do our best to go through some of these headlines and some of the headlines. And I also received some press releases too, so we want to get to some of those. And so we're going to get through this this morning. We only have about 20 minutes anyway, so oh my goodness, time is just a-flying. So Miles is saying, okay, yeah. Yep, okay, so beat by goaltending in 2006. That's a reference to the Italy Olympics, the Olympics in Italy and Canada's hockey team. So Jerome says, my dad, yes, to have my mom hang the phone receiver next to the TV so he could listen to his Habs play while underground in the Sudbury mine. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. Now, was that recently Or is that when they were in the Stanley Cup Finals? I'm curious. But yeah, so let us know that. So top stories shared to our Sudbury News Facebook page. Just trying to work with this here. Now it's going to go by our live stream. No, it's not. So Sudbury Symphony kicks off the fall with free concerts. So if you are a symphony lover, which I think many of us can be, then it is something for you. I don't know. I love symphony. Something you wouldn't think you would like. I didn't think I would like it, but I just ended up, going to a live symphony. There's just, if you haven't seen one or you haven't heard one, been to one, I would highly suggest going to it. And if the Sudbury Symphony are putting on free concerts, it's best to take them up on it. It doesn't cost any money, right? To get exposure to that and see if you like it. I really do think you should give it a chance. I really do think you would love that. I know I did. So first free performance is October 15th, which is tomorrow, at the Mackenzie Street Library branch. So to check out the other free shows that they're going to be putting on, check out our Facebook page, click on the link, and check out those dates. And get out there and not only support it, but be enriched by it, I should say. So, okay, so Mila Wong also put out a Facebook press release yesterday. Interesting. I'm not sure I saw that myself in my kind of Facebook perusing, but yeah, maybe it just didn't come up, or I'm not sure. Maybe I have to be a follower. I don't know. So that's interesting. So maybe I could find that. This is an interesting story here. The structure at the Sudbury campsite is being deemed suspicious. There was a fire. Greater Sudbury Fire Services were busy Thursday morning after receiving calls. So let's check this out here. Yes, I do want to go to the site. Thank you very much, Facebook. Just to make sure I'm clicking on the right thing. Greater Sudbury Fire Services were busy Thursday morning after receiving calls after 4 a.m. The structure fire at Mine Mill 598 Public Campground on Richard Lake. The Fire Deputy Chief Jesse Oshell, Deputy Chief, with Fire Services, told that to CTV that the fire was deemed suspicious. Fire crews, in conjunction with the manager of the campground who resides on the site, were able to determine that there were some suspicious potential activity there. If you can remember back to the hall that burnt down downtown, the mine mill, was that what it was called? Mine Mill Hall burnt down, and now it's they're located on Brady. They took over the old Loeb IGA building on Brady, but that one was also arson, correct? So this one looks suspicious. I wonder what's going on there. Is there anything to look into? Is this are people doing this on purpose? Is it just random? Is it just kids? Is it just whatever? Be interesting to know, to drill down to. Hopefully reporters are looking into that. This is huge news. I know Rob Ford was in town yesterday talking about, he went down in the mine and was part of the huge announcement. The new Vale Canada mine in Sudbury worth almost $1 billion. Premier Doug Ford was among those to celebrate the Copper Cliff Complex South mine. So that's huge news. And again, it just goes along with, what we were talking about yesterday. And we do believe that Sudbury is in for a huge boom coming up with the new renewable energy pledges that the world is making, whether right or wrong, whether good or bad. It's burnt the boat, and they're going that way regardless. So regardless of where you stand on that whole thing, whether you think battery power is better than gas power or other things, that's the way we're going. And Sudbury is going to benefit from the minerals and the ore that is beneath our feet, because that's going to go into the battery making and all those things to make it possible. So It will be good for the economy of Sudbury, regardless of anything else. I know we went to the island the other day, and they have all those new windmills right on the shore as you cross the bridge. And I couldn't help but notice anytime I've been there 2 times in the last week, both times just standing still, not even moving, the wind, right? So can you imagine if you had to rely on that for your electricity? Just one side to show how, how the green energy thing is going. I just don't think it's the most reliable in the world. Oh, I see. Yes. Oh, thanks, Jerome. Sorry to hear that. So it was back in the day that your dad has already passed on, and back in the day your mom used to call him on the phone so he could listen to the game while he was down under. That's so cool. Love it. The Junction East, which is not controversial one bit, project, that's being said sarcastically. This is how chomping at the bit they are to get this thing built. You wouldn't think in Sudbury we were so forth thinking, or we're so forward thinking or wanting to get things going. It just, things take so long and there's so much red tape. But this Junction East thing, they're so adamant of getting this thing built. Geotechnical work taking place yesterday, for the Junction East building. I know they've already been down there doing the gas work for it, even though they're still asking the new, people running for city council and mayor if they are for it or not, knowing that the new council and new mayor could come in and kibosh it. They're still going ahead, and they're building whatever they can to get this thing going for some reason. Geotechnical investigation is taking place off Shaughnessy Street between Wacky Wings and Alexandra's Restaurant. Yesterday, locates for the work will be installed prior to this date and will not affect parking, according to the statement from the city. The contractor will be on site early October 13th to section off the space required. Work is expected to be completed by the end of the day. So this is yesterday's news. It's old news. The geotechnical work is taking place to accommodate parking needs near the Junction East Cultural Hub site, which is a $98.5 million library art gallery building City Council greenlit in June. The land acquisition for parking was baked into the price. Love the wording. It was baked into the price. They couldn't say parallel parked into the price. I don't know. Presented to City Council. The Junction East Cultural Club is slated to be located across the street from the parking lot, undertaking geotechnical work on October 13th on what is currently the parking lot for the Sudbury Theatre Centre. An Enbridge gas line was relocated from the site last month to make room for the building. Unstable ground on proposed site was discovered during the early ground testing, which contributed to a recent cost escalation. Ian Wood, the city's director of strategic initiatives, communications and citizen services, said the issue is commonplace downtown. Don't worry about it. But if it might have been someone else's project and somewhere else in the city, that might have been a huge reason to everybody throw up their hands in the air and install the project for many, many months. While geotechnical work is taking place, monthly parking pass holders may park in the other municipal lots that offer monthly parking. There's so much parking to choose from downtown, you don't have to worry about it. There's just so much. Just choose another parking lot. It's fine. I know none of you have ever had problems trying to park downtown, and myself included. Again, sorry. So Brian is saying, who wants that? Well, city council and people who work for the city definitely want it. Not sure why. It's going to be a net zero project, by the way. It's going to cost $100 million, but it's going to be net zero carbon print. That's not even possible, but that's what they're saying is going to happen. It will cost taxpayers money because it's not going to be a revenue generating building. It will look very nice though as you're coming across that bridge. It'll look really nice where it's located, so it'll add to the nice look of downtown. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm mixing steel with the 598. Yeah, Steelworkers Hall. Thank you very much, Jerome. That's why you're here. Keep us on our toes. They are the same. Okay, cool. Okay, voting. Yes, thanks. I was going to bring that up, Natalie, but thank you so much for letting us know. Advanced vote online voting starts today, 10 a.m. Make your vote count. Take the time to make an informed decision about the candidates. Let's do this, Greater Sudbury. Oh, yes. And by the way, elect Natalie Labby for Councillor in Ward 7. Thanks. That's awesome. Appreciate that. And you've been a really great addition to the show since we've had you on and since you knew that we were here, I guess. So thank you so much for keeping us up to date with election-related issues that sometimes we're not aware of, and you give us the facts of what we need for our audience. Where do you park after that? Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, Miles shared the link to Mila Wong's Facebook. Now, unfortunately, I might not be able to get that to the way my system is. I can't get a current messenger message on Messenger on the screen. So I apologize for that. But I could put it on Monday. That's not a problem. So let's see what else we got here. Junction East is going ahead. They don't want to waste any time with that. Here's a couple of comments which I think are worthwhile. And there were comments that I think Facebook moderated and took out of the comments section here, because I know there were more before. But Andrew says Junction East is not needed. Didn't the cost to build it already jump up? Then construction should be put on hold and other projects started. I guess he's alluding to what they do with other things, right? They said the cost went up for the KED, so then we can't do it anymore. But the Junction East also doubled, but they didn't say that for that particular project. This project started off, this is Cindy, says the project started off at $46.5 million. It was originally $15 million provincial, $15 million federal, and only $16.5 million by the city. Now it's $98 million with no commitment yet from the governments, and expected to increase to over $100 million shortly. So yeah, that was comments from that story. Yeah, this will be an interesting one. Don't worry, shows up for some people, Facebook comments. Okay, that's awesome. So anyways, you all can click on Mila Wong's Facebook link in there and have a look at what she's proposing or what she's stating in her press release. And Mila, if you are watching or listening, you can send any press releases you have to sudburynews@gmail.com, and any of the candidates for that matter, sudburynews@gmail.com. You just throw us an email and we'll be able to do our best to get that up. Perfect. So candidates are weighing in on the environmental issues. Coalition for a Livable Sudbury has released the results of 7 pledges for the Greater Sudbury area. Now, not everyone has responded to their pledges, and I can only guess why. Coalition for a Livable Sudbury has released the results of 7 pledges Greater Sudbury's mayoral and city council candidates were asked to sign. If social and environmental causes are guiding your vote during this month's civic election, the Coalition for a Livable Sudbury has you covered. They joined various other local organizations in drafting 7 pledges that they asked all of Greater Sudbury's mayoral and city candidates to sign. I don't know. I see a problem with that. Do you? So they got together with like-minded environmental groups. They made 7, almost like I guess a small M manifesto, if you will, and asked if the candidates would sign it. Problems? No? So if I said I have 7 things I want you to do, and I want you to sign this paper, and you didn't agree with one of the things, would you sign that paper? First of all, that's weird. to begin with, from my point of view. Anyways, I don't know. So the results were released that week or this week. You can go on there and you can see what all these things are. But out of the 49 people that are running, 19 did not respond. And so I'm basically saying why they wouldn't sign it, because I wouldn't sign it, because if there's 7 things and I don't agree with one of them, why would I sign this thing? But the 7 things are: the pledges are the pledges with additional context include urgent climate action, housing for all, reallocating funds from the police to other services, so kind of along the lines of the defund the police thing, basic mobility, support for community initiatives, truth and reconciliation, and better land and water protection. So the 49 candidates were asked to sign, the pledges to go along with urgent climate action. What does that mean? So I'd want to know what that means. Housing for all, okay, that's great. Reallocating funds from the police. So taking funds away from our police and giving it to other people. I have an issue with that alone. Why can't you leave the funding for the police, find other ways to save money in the city, and allocate it to services? Why do you need to take money directly from the police and do that? That seems like it's going along with a certain type of a campaign that was launched about a year and a half ago. Mainly defund the police. How safe would you feel if there was no police? Just put it out there. Some cities have already tried it in the U.S. The crime rates went up. 100% went up. Deaths went up. They're now the most dangerous cities in the world, and now are hiring more and more police back. So that experiment's been tried, and I don't know why we're trying to do it here. I think it's a little backwards thinking, if you ask me. So would I sign that? Heck no. So I'd like to know the ones who did sign it, and I don't know. So the beginning started with, hey, if you really want to know who to vote for and who signed this list, I think the opposite could be true too. If you really want to know who not to vote for, you can go and see who signed this thing. Now, some of them chimed in and said, I'm signing this, but, I got an issue with this, that, or the other. And you can read that. Just click on the story, do all your digging, and I would invite you to dig and find out, all of what's going on with this. So I want to see I did go down to see who was involved, who they consulted with. Here we go. Although a coalition for a livable Sudbury led to the change in the pledge exercise. That's interesting. Led the charge. Although a coalition for a livable Sudbury led the charge in the pledge exercise, various community groups contributed to the effort and helped guide its content. These groups include Poverty and Housing Advocacy Coalition, Black Lives Matter, Bike Sudbury, Greater Sudbury Watershed Alliance, Junction Creek Stewardship Committee, Rethink Green, Sudbury Workers Education and Advocacy Center, Greater Sudbury Food Policy Council, and Sudbury and District Labor Council. It is further endorsed by Citizens Climate Lobby Sudbury, Global Gardens, Go Give Project, Myths and Mirrors Community Arts, Sex Workers Advisory Network of Sudbury, and Sudbury Shared Harvest, also Sudbury Temporary Overdose Prevention Society. I'll say that again, Sudbury Temporary Overdose Prevention Society. So those were the groups that helped and are kind of aligned, I guess, with the Coalition for a Livable Sudbury. This is a lobby group. I would say a lobby group that are wanting, environmental changes, social changes of a certain kind, and you want to dig in and you want to look into what these particular organizations are for and know if that's where you want to go down or not. A lot of us don't really understand what these organizations are lobbying for, and I'm glad they're right out there so you can then go and dig in and see what they're all about. And if they do align with your ideals and things, and you do agree with them, and now you're going to agree with the candidates that go along with them, you'll know how to vote. Again, it takes a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of work to know who to vote for. Voting early, first time in my life. I've never been so sure. Yes, thanks, Shane. That's so awesome. I'm not sure why my computer just timed out. That's fine. Sudbury in for an economic boom? How do the electric car owners like Sudbury roads? So Natalie, if you're elected mayor, will you get our... So Natalie, if you're elected mayor, will you get our fair share? So Natalie, yeah, she's running for Ward 7, not mayor. I'm sure you were already aware of that. But yeah, maybe that was like a whatever question, just if she was running for mayor. Yeah, so why would they sign it? Exactly, I guess just to show they align with these ideals or these groups. They want to show that they're in, an honest person cannot promise all of those things as a whole. That is true. Yeah. Awesome. So we got more and more comments here. I just want to get to it. I wouldn't be signing nothing on the list. Cool. So Philadelphia is a great example of defunding the police, correct? So we have to see these ideals are a whole momentum, right? These groups are lobbying not only in our community. You saw his Global Gardens. These are groups that aren't just from Sudbury. They are initiatives that span the globe, and they've already been tried in different places and things like that. And so you definitely want to look into their ideologies and see if they align with yours. That's all I have to say. And see if you think that they are better for Greater Sudbury or not. Want to give a shout out that there's a conference going on today. I don't know if it's too late to get in on it or not, but rendezvousnorth.com, you go there and they have 55 artists basically talking about how they make a living in the arts, which is not easy to do. So there you go. Okay, thanks, Miles. That's cool. So that's that. Go to rendezvousnorth.com. You may be a little too late for this because I think it's starting this morning, but we've been advertising it forever on CKLU. So if you listen to the radio, by any means, you've heard that already. So Miranda Rocca-Tricelli, she basically put out a press release, which we also covered, and she sent it to us about the decentralization. We talked about that yesterday on the show, which was really great, and how she would go about doing it. You can catch that on our Facebook page, Parkside Center to host Seniors Information and Active Living Fair, October 21st. We'll talk about that more next week, but for now, we got to go. I can't believe we got through the show, to tell you the truth, on my own, but I wasn't on my own. You guys were with me, so much appreciated, much love. Thank you for being with us. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you same time, same place, Monday. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. So again, thanks. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Get the word out there, and let's make this conversation as big and robust as we possibly can about the issues that we face here in Greater Sudbury. Thanks. Have a great one. Ciao.
This is Sudbury.